Hi, welcome to my studio. In this short video, I want to review for you this compact palette, the Meeden 24 half pan watercolor palette. Let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome to my studio. In this video, I'm going to do a brief review of the Meeden Tin Watercolor Palette. This is a great little palette, very compact, very portable, and made really well. And for the price, really high quality. I really like this little palette. Let me tell you a little bit more about it. I purchased this palette on Amazon. The actual name, if you were looking for it, is the Meeden Empty Watercolor Tin Palette with 24 half pans. You can see here, as the name suggests, 24 half pans. A half pan here, let me take one of these out, is about, you can see the size of it there. I actually have a tape measure. I actually want to measure this so you can actually see how big these little half pans are. These are in US measurement. This is 3/4 of an inch by about 5/8 of an inch. And it's about 3/8 of an inch tall. So 24 half pans. Now this palette comes empty when you purchase it. It doesn't have paint in it, but the purchase price for this palette is only $14.99 US dollars. That's very affordable. And so it's designed to be used for people who use tube paints. You'll grab your tube paints, like I have some here, and you'll just squeeze these paints right into these half pans, filling them, and then letting them dry overnight or so, and then you're all ready to go. The palette has a beautiful white enamel interior here, which is a great mixing surface, and the outside is a black enamel. I'd like to talk about some of the pros and cons of this particular palette. I've used it now for about 2 years, and I've used it both in the studio and in the field. First of all, the pros. The size of this palette. It's a nice portable size, as we can see here. I'm going to actually measure it as we talk. It's a little under 9 inches wide and about almost the same the other direction, 9 by 9 when it's opened up, a little under that. And when it's closed, you can see 9 inches by a little under 9 inches by about 3 inches. So it'll fit in your bag just great when you're ready to go out into the field painting. The second benefit of this particular palette is the removable pans. So again, I've already shown you how you can pull those pans out. Let me show you that again. They come out of here, pop out of here really easily. Some palettes really difficult to get the pans out, but not so with this particular model. They're plastic pans, again half pans, but they are easily able to be swapped out for different colors. So if you find that the colors you have currently in your palette are not the right ones, you could swap them out for other colors and be on your way. Another benefit of this particular palette, again on the back side, if we look here, we have this thumb ring. And you can easily put your finger through there, and while you're in the field painting, that makes it a lot easier to hold the palette. And finally, another benefit of this one, if you have some small brushes that you want to store in here, there's a little bit of space here right down the middle of the palette. You could put some brushes. Okay, that's it for the benefits. Again, I really like this palette overall, but there's a few things about it that maybe I don't like quite as much. Number one is the size of these half pans. And this would be for any palette that uses the half pan size for the paint. And that is when I use my brushes and I'm trying to wet and pull the pigment out of these half pans, it works okay on a fairly small brush like this size here, which is a number 8. But if I were using one of my larger brushes, and I like to use the largest brush possible whenever I'm painting, for example, if I was using this 12, or even if I wanted to use something larger like this 3/4 inch oval brush, it would be very, very difficult for me to get my brush into these half pan sizes and pull out any of that pigment. Just really wouldn't work. Not only would it be difficult to get the pigment out, I could actually damage my brushes. And since my brushes are pretty expensive, probably more expensive than this palette, for a single brush, I certainly don't want to damage my brushes. And so I need to keep that in mind. Now, having said that, it is possible to go ahead and swap these half pans out and put full pans in. If you put them in the other direction, you can actually configure this particular palette to hold probably about half as many full pans instead of 24 half, probably about 12 full pans. And that would actually, I think, work a lot better. And so I might even recommend that to you. You can purchase, instead of these half pan little white containers, you can purchase the full pan and put them right in there, and that might work great. Other people that have reviewed this have also said that one of the downsides of a metal palette might be the possibility of rusting. Now, I've used this for 2 years. I have never had any rust develop inside this palette. I've been very happy with it in that regard, but some people have complained about that. Maybe really it would be beneficial to keep it open for a bit and let it dry out a little bit before you close it and store it away, and that would probably solve that problem. Number 3 on the downside of this particular palette, and this is a problem that I've had at times, is the problem with paints kind of beading up. For example, I'm going to spray a little paint in there and pull out some of this color. When I put my colors and that kind of thing in these metal tin pans like this, you can see that the paint, the water has a tendency to pool or bead up and contract in like that. And that's a little bit of a bummer because it really makes it a little bit difficult to see the actual color that I'm working with on my palette because it contracts so much. This is not as big of a problem when you use plastic, and it's not a problem at all if you use a porcelain palette. But those types of palettes, especially the porcelain, not as portable and quite a bit more expensive. So as it goes, for this quality, for this size palette, I think it's a great value. Just a few downsides, but I think you can work around that. Again, the pros are its size, its portability, its ease of holding when you're in the field with that little thumb ring, the fact that you can swap out these pans and configure them in different directions, using them both with half and full pans, a real advantage. Great quality, good value. I like the way these mixing areas stay nice and flat when you're mixing with them. And really overall, just a really great little palette for using either in the studio and maybe even better when you're out in the field painting plein air. I hope this has been helpful. If so, please like this video. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel. If you hit the notification bell, then the next time I put out a video, you will be notified right away. Thanks. Have a great day.